All right, here we go. It is November 1st, 2016. We've got exactly 61 days left in the year. Brand new month. We got Halloween out of the way. Now we've got Thanksgiving, and then we have my birthday. That's a holiday, by the way. And then we have Christmas. So welcome to this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. This call happens every single Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's been going on for over 3 years. I believe we're on what episode are we on right now?
92.
It is 92. Okay, so I finally figured out about a year and a half ago to put it out on a podcast, so this will be episode 92. So last week we talked about, we're doing a series. So this week is going to be part 2 of the 3-part series. Now, if you are on the live call right now, or you're listening to the recording because this is going to become a podcast, you want to make sure you join us live on Tuesday at 10:30 because I'm able to take questions, provide answers. We're going to get through some content today, and then I want to bring some people on that are on the live call to handle any questions that they have. For those of you out there on Facebook Live, put your comments and questions into the live feed, and my assistant Ashley here is going to monitor those questions and then just let me know what questions come up, and we'll handle those comments right there as well. If you want to call in, just go to area code 518-530-1840. So area code 518-530-1840, and the meeting ID is 875-080-865. So 875-080-865. The benefit is if you're on the live call, I can bring you on and we can have a dialogue and I can answer any questions that you have. So we've been talking about the top business owner challenges. This is going to be, last week we talked about cash flow. We talked about client retention. We talked about the holy grail in business, because if you don't have cash flow, you're out of business. So if you did not get a chance to listen to that call, highly recommend you go back and listen to the call, because that's the number one challenge I hear all the time is cash flow. So we didn't just pull these six challenges out of our butt. Okay, this is through hundreds of surveys, thousands of people that responded. And these are the top challenges that people said they're dealing with as a small business owner. And I can tell you, they're absolutely right. I deal with these issues all the time with the clients that I work with one-on-one. I deal with them as myself as a business owner. And for those of you that have never heard me speak, have no clue who the heck I am, why you should listen to me, whatever, 26 years ago, October 28th, 1990, I started my first company. And that company failed because I hated sales. In fact, my mentor at the time wanted me to go out and talk to perfect strangers. And me don't do that, you know. And after taking that loss, after taking that failure really, really bad, I hid for 2 years until I got it. I said, you know what, I got to face my fear. I got to go out and learn how to talk to strangers. I got to learn how to sell. I got to learn how to do this if I ever want to be successful in business. And that's where I started reconnecting with Dave, and the rest is history. Built 6 different companies since then, 3 of them into the millions of bucks. I'm building a $1 million company right now. And all I get to do every single day is I get to wake up and work with other business owners just like yourself, one-on-one in their company, and get to help them. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is right in line with what I've been going through in my own business, what a lot of my clients go through. And it's not my first rodeo, and that is we're going to deal with tiredness and burnout. People, one of their number one challenges as business owners, how do I deal with, John, I'm exhausted, I'm doing everything, I'm burnt out, what do I do? Okay? So we're going to talk about that. The next one is finding and retaining profitable customers. We hit on that last week. I'm going to hit on a little bit more today. And then the other thing that we're going to be able to talk about is how to motivate employees. So how to attract, hire, retain, and motivate employees so they perform a whole lot better than you at every aspect of your business. Because here's the deal. If you're sitting in a room with all of your employees and you're the smartest one in the room, you hired the wrong people. And what I've discovered is it's when you hire the wrong people, it becomes a drag on everybody else. I just took over a business about a month ago, and after going through all the evaluation and going through all the stuff, it became very apparent that the person leading, the CEO that has been hired, is not the right fit. So I had to release him back to the marketplace last week. And I'm going through the rest of the employees, and really what it comes down to is the right people need to be in the right spot on that bus, because there's too many other great employees working there that are being dragged down by substandard employees, okay? And a lot of it had to do with the CEO that they had, because it all starts from the top, okay? I don't look at the employees. I look at the CEO. I look at the leader of that company. It all stems from you, the business owner. So if you have employees and you're not happy with those employees, you need to look yourself in the mirror first. And so we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about burnout. Oh, real quick before we get started. So Revamp is hosting an event here in Sacramento this Thursday night, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. It's on Arcade Underground. There's still some tickets remaining. They're $30. Ash, can you make sure that we put that on put that in the my personal feed, as well as the John Pyron Coaching Facebook page? Eric Borders did a post this morning. Register. You want to be there. There's going to be 300 to 400 entrepreneurs there. 3 speakers. I'm going to be the keynote. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a phenomenal event. Definitely, I don't care what you got planned. I'd recommend you cancel it. You're not going to find another gathering of this many entrepreneurs under one roof in Sacramento, that is. Next Thursday, Rockland Chamber of Commerce, I'm doing their Sunrise Breakfast. Their breakfast, actually it's the last breakfast of the year, 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm going to deliver a talk on finishing the year strong and time management. Definitely want to get your tickets, because that is going to sell out. It always sells out. Last but not least, I'm going to be starting an exclusive private invitation-only mastermind group for business owners. Minimum requirement, got to have $100,000 a year in revenue. So in order to even be considered for this group, if that's something that you want to be a part of, doesn't matter where you're located in the world, okay, there's people all over the world that are interested in this. You want to get a hold of me, because I'm limiting it to the top to 12 people. So, and once I start it, it's going to be closed and invitation only, and everybody's got to vote you in. So those are my announcements. Let's talk about tiredness and burnout. And let me tell you a quick story to kind of bring it home. Is in May of 2012. Actually, let me back up. So in January 6, 2006, I started a company called Intelligent Business Network Solutions. Borrowed a bunch of money, put together a bunch of money, invested about $65,000 into this business, and took it from 0 to 385 the first year, 652 the second year, $1,037,000 the third year, another $1 million the following year, and then another $1 million the following year, and then the peer group. Like I said, I'm starting my own peer group, right? I was a part of a peer group, and they said, hey, in order for you to go to $10 million, you need to hire an operations guy, because even though you can do it, you're not the greatest at it, okay? And so I hired a guy named Bob. Bob became the worst nightmare on the planet, and ended up having a complete partnership meltdown between my existing partner and the new partner, and had to get rid of both of them, had to fire every single employee, went from $1 million down to $600,000 in less than 4 months, okay? And finally, it took me about 5 months to stop the bleeding, and a total of 9 months to rebuild it all, completely successfully outsource it all. And here I am sitting in a cigar shop with my buddy Richard in May of 2012, and I'm experiencing tiredness, and I'm experiencing burnout. Now, what's interesting, I wasn't experiencing tiredness or burnout from working too much, which is very interesting. I was experiencing tiredness and burnout. I mean, I was only working, I had restructured that business to where I was only having to work about 5 to 8 hours a week. So it wasn't like I was working my ass off. Okay? I had successfully hired 2 Rockstar employees, outsourced everything to Premier IT down in Southern California, had CCNS out of Scottsdale managing everything. So it wasn't like I was tired or burnt out because I was working my butt off. No, I had lost my passion for that business. Now, how many of you can relate to what I'm talking about? I was making a crap load of money, not having to do a lot of work, but I would wake up and hit the snooze button. I'd wake up and hit it over and over and over and over again because I'm like, I just didn't want to get out of bed. And really what it came down to is my heart and my passion was no longer in that space. And I was burnt out. See, it's not working your butt off that causes burnout, although it can. But most of the time, I would venture to say over 95% of the time, it's because we as owners, we as business owners, or we as individuals have lost our drive and our passion for what we're doing. We've lost that connection with why we're doing what we're doing. And that's exactly where I was. I was like, and Richard and I were sitting there talking, he goes, well, what are you going to do? I go, I don't know, man. He goes, if you look back on your life, and here's a question for you too. If you look back on your professional life, when were you the most fired up about coming to work? When were you the most fired up about your business? What was that? And so when Richard asked me that question, I said, probably the best time I had was when I was in the Amway business, and I was being coached and mentored by a guy named Jay Cuccia, and then ultimately Dave Vanny. And I was able to speak on stage in front of thousands of people. And I enjoyed that because it allowed me to have impact with lots of people at once versus one-on-one. And I said, that was really kind of like the most exciting time of my life. So here's what I want you to do. If you're feeling this burnout, if you're feeling this tiredness, ask yourself, okay, when were you the most excited, the most happy, the most fired up about your business? And so I looked at that and I'm like, it was really public speaking. And he says, well, what can you do to do that again? I said, you know what? I have all these captured clients for computer and network support. I'm pretty darn good at sales. I think I want to go and train salespeople. I want to go give seminars. I want to go give workshops. I want to go and teach those people how to effectively sell. Because what I had been able to accomplish was go from being an engineer, a propeller head, okay, somebody who is scared to death of sales, to somebody who had now trained, lots and lots of companies on how to sell. And so I'm like, man, if I can wake up every day and do that, that would be unbelievable. And what's interesting is as him and I started talking about it, I felt this energy come over me. I felt like, it was like there was a new pep in my step. And all of a sudden, the tiredness was gone. The burnout was gone. So what changed? Right here. Right here. The 6 inches between these 2 ears changed. I started focusing on what I wanted and what I was interested in. And as a result, the tiredness left, the burnout left. It all went bye-bye. And he said, you got to hook up with this guy, man. He's already got a sales training platform, and he's already got all this stuff in place, and all you got to do is go out and represent his brand, and he'll coach you, and he'll teach you, and he'll show you how to do all that, and he already has a brand on the market, and on and on and on. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And I was fired up, man. And so I got every day fired up, and I had like a whole new lease on life. Now, good for me. This call ain't about me, it's about you. So if you're struggling with burnout, if you're struggling with tiredness, if you're like just every day you wake up and you're like you want to pull the covers back over your head, if that's you, I want to give you some encouragement. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit back. It's November 1, man. Okay? Take out a blank sheet of paper and just start writing out your goals. Just start writing out a bucket list. Start writing out, okay, if money weren't an issue, if time weren't an issue, okay, if you had all the money that you needed and all the time that you needed, you had the infrastructure in place, all the systems in place for your business, what would life be like? What would it be like? What would you do with your time? You know, let's just say let me walk you through. There used to be an exercise I used to walk people through, and it's very, very powerful. Let's just say that you know, God, the universe, whatever your belief system is. Let's just say let's just say God, for example. Let's just say God came to you and said, "Hey, listen. You've been alive for 42 years, okay? And you up to this point, you've done a great job. But I know and you know that you have potential inside of you to perform at a higher level. Now, let me ask you an honest question. How many of you believe that you have potential to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing at?" And I guarantee you everybody would raise their hand if we were in the same room, okay? So let's just say God came to you and said, "Hey, you know what? I know you have potential to perform at a higher level. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I've got this special debit card here, okay? And it's tied to a bank account that has unlimited resources. In other words, when you go to the bank, you anywhere in the world, and you use this card, you can withdraw as much money as you want. In fact, for the next 12 months, I'm going to let you have as much money as you want. The other thing I'm going to do over the next 12 months is I'm going to give you perfect health. You know, any ailments that you're going to be able to avoid, you know, the flu, a cold. You're not going to have any health issues at all for the next 12 months. So now you got unlimited resources. You got great health for the next 12 months. And then the third thing I'm going to give you is every single person that you care about, that you want to spend time with, I'm going to give them perfect health as well. Okay? So that way you can spend as much time with them over the next 12 months doing whatever you want to do. But what I want to see from you over the next 12 months is I want to see your best. Okay? And if I don't see your best, then 12 months from now, I'm going to take you from this planet. Okay? I'm going to end your life because I'm going to take away all obstacles, everything that's standing in your way for you to really shine and be the person that I created you to be. Now, if that actually happened, right, what would you do with your time over the next 12 months? What would you do? How would you spend your time? Now, what's funny is when early on in my coaching business, this would be the kind of the dialogue I would walk people through to help them get really resonated on what is so important. And what's interesting, the number one thing that people always came back with, I would spend time with my family. And I'm like, great. What would you do with your family? I would travel. I would go here. I would go there. Where would you travel? Okay, now that all the travel's out of the way, what else would you do? Well, I would write a book. I would teach a seminar. I would do a workshop. See, it's amazing when you put into perspective, no money challenges, no time challenges. I only have 1 year left. What am I going to do? It's amazing how sharp and how laser focused we get on what's truly meaningful to us. And I have discovered over and over and over and over again in my personal life and business life that the biggest discouragement, the times where I suffer from tiredness and burnout is when I've got my eye off the goal. It's off the target. It's not focused on where I'm going. It's focused on where I've been or what I'm not doing. And that's not where we need to focus our time and energy. So here's the exercise. Sit down over this next week, and I want you to run that scenario by yourself and say, hey, man, if I only had 1 year left and I had all the money and I had all the time, what would my life be like? How would I design my life? How would I spend my day? How would I wake up? Where would I wake up? Would I have more than one home? Would I travel? Like right now the weather's changing in Sacramento. It's starting to get cold. Would I go down to maybe Scottsdale or Phoenix, stay there for the winter? You know, who would I spend my time with? Where would I travel? Where would I go? And start rekindling that dream, that passion, that desire. And one of the things my mentor Steve Napolitan taught me is, you know what? If you want to live a very passionate life, if you want to wake up every day just fired up about what you're doing, design the life that you want first, and then build the business around it. Whole lot more enjoyable. And so what I do, I get excited at the end of every month, because the routine that I have is I sit down and I look at, okay, I count the numbers. I do what's called a baseline strategy. See, every one of us has a baseline as far as the results that we're producing. And let's just say that we're going to measure money. Let's just say, you know, you made $10,000 last month. $10,000 would be your baseline. What's also included in your baseline is every single thing that you did to earn that $10,000. The phone calls you made, the appointments that you ran, the new clients that you had. Okay, it's everything. And I'm just talking money at this point. You can apply this to any area of your life. But let's just say money. And so last night I sat down because the month was over. I ran the numbers and I'm like, oh, wow, I had the best October I've ever had. I'm like, woohoo, party up, baby. But guess what? It's November 1, clean slate. Okay? So I had to look back and I go, okay, what worked? What did I enjoy doing in October? What did I do to earn that revenue? What worked? What continues to work? What did I not like doing that I'm going to eliminate or modify? And then I lay out my plan for November. And then I write my goals again. Okay? So the best thing that you can do if you really want to get rid of tiredness or burnout is reconnect with you. Reconnect with who you are, where you're going, why you're going there, what's in it for you. And so sit down and write out, okay, over the next year, over the next month, over the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you can envision, what are the top 5 things I want to get done? You know, maybe you have a money goal. Maybe you have an operations goal. Maybe you have a family goal. Maybe you have a fitness goal. Maybe you have a financial goal. What is it that's going to fire you up that you're just like, man, I've got to have that? You know? If you've never done this before, if this is your first time doing this, then here's the exercise. I want you to list out the amount of money you want to make over the next 6 months. Okay? I want you to write out the amount of money that you want to make over the next 6 months. So November, December, January, February, March, and April. By the end of April, how much money do you want to be making per month? And it's doable to make 6 figures in less than 6 months. I've done it many times, taught lots of people how to do it, had lots of people do it. You can do it too. And so let's just say you hit $100,000, $8,333 a month by the end of April. That's the goal. Now, here's where it becomes exciting. I want you to list out 20 reasons why you want that goal. 20 things that's going to be able to do for you. Not 19, not 16, 20. Why 20? Because the first 10 to 12 items are going to be very easy. You're just going to be like, man, I want this. I would buy this car. I'd do this. I would go here. I'd travel here. I'd do this. I'd do this. And what ends up happening is it becomes a lot of fluff. And so, let me do this. So, but once you get to the 13th, 14th, and higher, those reasons start getting more meaningful. Okay? And then what I want you to do is whittle that list down to the top 5. No more than 5. The 5 things that fire you up the most, man. And then all you need to do is every single morning when you wake up, you whip out a blank sheet of paper and you write out as if the goal had already happened. You write out those top 5 goals. Take some time to meditate on that. What would it be like to actually hit those goals? And then lay out some targets that you want to set for today to get you one step closer to those goals. And then at night before you go to bed, do it again. Write them out again. And just make it happen over and over. Do that every day for the next 6 months. And I promise you this, you will hit those goals, number 1. Number 2, you're going to wake up every day fired up. Tiredness and burnout are not going to be an issue for you. Okay? So have a daily routine to fire you up. Another thing is to realize you're not everything. You're not Superman or Superwoman. There are other people out there that can do a better job at certain things in your business better than you. Are you a videographer? Are you an audio transcriptionist? Are you an audio guy? Are you a photographer, a video guy, blog writer? Are you any of that? And if you're not an absolute expert at it, find somebody to do it. It's easier and a lot less expensive to outsource it to someone and leave you doing the things that you want to do. Like this week, last week I had to fire a couple of people for a client. I'm going to have to do some more of that. That's the least favorite thing that I have to do, right? But I can't outsource that. So sometimes you got to do the things that you don't want to do. But there's also a lot of other stuff that as a result of that, I'm now having to take on. And I'm like, man, I ain't having fun with this shit. Okay? I'm looking at it, I'm going, I need to find somebody to do this, this, and this. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because I've identified the 3 things in my business that I absolutely love to do. And when I do them, it impacts the company tremendously. So same thing with your business. Whittle it down to the top 1 to 3 things that you love, that you want to do, that you're great at, and outsource the rest of it, man. I'm going to tell you, you'll make a whole lot more money doing that. You'll be a whole lot more happier. You'll wake up all fired up. You won't experience no burnout because you're going to be cranking it and moving it towards your goal constantly. Focus on your dreams and goals. Write out your goals on a regular basis. Those are the things that I do to battle tiredness and burnout. And as a result, I don't experience tiredness or burnout. The only time I experience tiredness or burnout is when I'm not cranking out the work that I know I should be doing. When I'm not doing the things in my business I know I should be doing, and I'm avoiding it, that's where the tiredness or burnout comes. I learned this from Grant Cardone. You want to meet the devil? Okay? You want to meet tiredness and burnout? You want to meet doubt? You want to meet, low confidence? Just have some blank space in your calendar. Have idle time. Have, idle time really, there's scripture written on that in the Bible. Idleness is you're basically opening yourself up to be attacked. Okay? And so not having a purpose, not having a passion, not having a mission that you're absolutely just freaking fired up about, a lot of times causes burnout and tiredness. But when you're absolutely passionate about something, obsessed, one of my new favorite books, highly recommend every one of you go out and get this book. One of the best books I've ever read, just came out by Grant Cardone, called Be Obsessed or Be Average. Be obsessed or be average. I read the book, I get fired up. I read it first thing in the morning. I spend about a half hour reading it, and I'm like, man, this is great. I'm working more now than I've worked in years. I mean, I'm looking back, I'm like working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and I'm like, did I work? I don't even think I did work. Because I'm doing the things that I'm passionate about. And all the other stuff I'm outsourcing. And I'm keeping an eye on that on a regular basis because I'm taking on stuff recently that I don't want to do. So I'm going to find somebody else to do it. But that's what works for me, and it'll work for you as well. Let's talk about finding and retaining profitable customers. So we hit on this last week. So stuff I want to remind you about. The best revenue, the lowest hanging fruit in your business right now is from your existing clients. From your ability to go to your existing client and say, hey, how can I help you achieve your goals? See, a lot of times we go to our client and we're focused on our company, our revenue, our business, and how we can sell them something, how we can sell our deal, how we can service them with our product or service. And a lot of it is going and finding out what's the biggest challenges you have in your business right now. What are the biggest challenges you have? What is standing in your way of achieving your goals, Mr. Customer, Mr. or Mrs. Customer? And you're going to jot those things down, because we are problem solvers as business owners. That's what we get paid for. We get paid to solve problems. If we don't ask our client what their biggest challenge or problem is, how can we solve it? And most of the time, we can solve it ourselves with our product or service. And on the occasion that we can't, our job now is to go and find somebody to solve our client's problem or challenge. And by doing so, our client solves their problem or challenge, they make more money, they're able to give us more money, and we're able to deepen that relationship because we helped our client. Now, if you're in a product-based business, okay, I'm talking more of a service-based business here. But if you're in a product-driven business where you sell a ton of products on the web, the internet, things like that, same principle applies. You need to survey your clients constantly, your satisfied clients, the people that buy from you. Why did you buy? What's your biggest challenge? And constantly have that new information coming in so you can create new products or services. And that's how you're going to sell and retain better clients. Once somebody buys something from you once, it's a whole lot easier for them to buy something else. Okay? So go back and listen to last week's recording. There were some great ideas on how to retain profitable clients. And the number one thing is to get to know them on a personal level and help them achieve their goals. Now, here's a tip for those of you that are in a service-based business. In other words, you provide a service to your client on top of maybe products and so forth. One of the best strategies I've ever implemented, and I started implementing this strategy in 2001, and it was like the biggest breakthrough in all the businesses I've owned since. And that is, I realized there are an average of 20 to 21 business days in a month. Okay? And so I said, okay, I'm going to do a search on my top 20 clients, okay, based off of profitability and based off of whether I like them or not, okay, because that component's got to be there. And I said, okay, if it's true that my happy client is the biggest source for new revenue and new referrals, then what's a strategy I can implement to capitalize on that? And what I came up with is the first stop of the day. So what I do, and this applied when I had IT companies, but it still applies even today with the business that I have, is I would say, okay, my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop by my client's location first thing in the morning, okay? Or I'm going to call my client first thing in the morning. Okay, so if you have clients that are out of the area, the strategy works the same. Hey, Joe, John Pyron, hey, I'm going to be in your neighborhood this morning. Okay, I want to stop by to say hi real quick. I'm going to stop by Starbucks on the way. What's your favorite Starbucks drink? Okay, well, John, I want the grande iced vanilla latte. Great. I'm going to bring you an iced vanilla latte, and I just want to chat with you for 5-10 minutes. Is that all right with you? And they're going to say yes. Now, if you have clients, like I have clients in Texas, Tennessee, all over the place. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm going to call them first thing in the morning. So I'm going to send them an email the night before. I'm going to say, hey, I want to chat with you for 10-15 minutes tomorrow. I'm going to send you a gift certificate from Starbucks. I want you to go get yourself a Starbucks drink, and you and I will have a coffee meeting over the phone in the morning. Okay? And they're like, oh, wow, that's unique. So they go get their coffee, they get their deal, and basically I'm only going to have to do this with that client once a month, and I'm going to say, hey, talk to me about your month, man. How's it gone over the last 30 days? What's been the biggest successes that you've had as a company, as an individual? You know? What have been the biggest challenges that you've had over the last 30 days? Okay? Over the next 30 days, what's your big goals? Okay? Because if I know what your goals are and the challenges you have, I want to see what I can do to help you. Okay? What are the big goals or challenges that you have over the next 30 days? Now, you know what's interesting? They're going to ask me the same question. Okay? Talk to me about your business, John. Where are things at? How'd it go over the last 30 days? What's your goals over the next 30 days? And we're going to develop this bond and this relationship that's solid. Now, if you take your top 20 clients, that's one a day. And you're not only going to retain your clients longer term, but you're going to get referrals every single time. And so I would go to their LinkedIn profile before you have that coffee meeting and look at their connections and say, hey, who do I want to be introduced to? And then you say, hey, great catching up with you. Promise you 10, 15 minutes. I just wanted to kind of connect with you and see how I can help you over the next 30 days. By the way, I was on your LinkedIn profile. I noticed that you know these 10 people. Who on here do you actually know that you could possibly introduce me to? And then what I want you to do is I want you to go to my LinkedIn profile and do the same. Send that list over to me, and I'm going to see who I can introduce you to as well. Is that all right? And they're going to say, yeah. And now I have a source of referrals. So I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm deepening my client relationship, actually 3 birds. I'm doing a survey with them so I can constantly keep up to date on my products and services and making sure that they're where they need to be. And I'm getting referrals. So that's just something I do, something I've taught a lot of clients to do. Okay. Wish I could sit here and say I've been very consistent with this. I haven't. But whenever I need new clients, this is my go-to strategy, and it works every single time. And it'll work for you too. All right. Where are we at time? All right. Let's talk about motivating employees. So the key to motivating employees is you got to hire right the first time. And was it like, 1 or 2 episodes ago I did an entire process on how to hire the right people? 3 episodes ago? So go back 3 episodes ago, and I did an entire segment on how to hire and retain great employees. But here's the bottom line. You want to hire right the first time. The key is to hire slowly and fire quickly. But if you hire slowly and you do it with a process, you will have the right employee on the bus. You need to make sure that your job ad is very well written. You need to make sure that you have a very well written job description. You need to make sure that prior to hiring them, you have a 30-day onboarding process with every single day of employment for the first 30 days broken down as to what they're going to be doing. That gives them a high level of confidence that they made the right decision coming and working for you. And then the interview process. So you need to have a standard. I would use a tool called Hireology. Now, do we have an affiliate link on that yet? We need to get an affiliate link on that. So Hireology or ZipRecruiter, okay? But really good platform. Put your job ad up there and start getting the resumes. Then you need to have a zero-tolerance screening process. In other words, if they don't follow the direction of your job ad, okay, and you need to have some very specific directions in there. And basically what I tell them is, here's the stuff I want you to, when responding to this ad, here's what I want in your cover letter. And it's a way for me to screen them out right away, because if they don't follow those directions, my assistant Ashley, when she screens the cover letter, if they don't follow the strategy, they get axed. Okay, I don't care what kind of talent they have. I don't care about any of that stuff. If they can't follow a simple direction, they don't make it past that process. Okay, because the last thing I want to do is bring on an employee that doesn't follow instructions. Then I have to deal with that, right? So we get them through that process. She screens them. Now she's going to get on the phone and screen them for about 5 to 10 minutes. How's their phone voice? Are they confident? Do they hem and haw? You know, great people are confident. Great employees are extremely confident at what they do, and they're going to be extremely confident on the phone. And that's what that's all I tell Ashley, man. Is I say, hey, I want to know, here's your screening process. Number one, you're going to verify their employment. You're going to verify their phone voice. You're going to verify their confidence level. And you're going to verify that they're actually who they say they are. And if they don't meet those 4 qualifications, they're done. They're another whole handful. Our goal is to end up with 6 that we can do a telephone interview with. And so I do a telephone interview, either myself or my client. I teach the client how to do that. And I'm going to screen them for about 15 to 20 minutes on their resume. And I got certain questions that if you want a list of these hiring questions, just send me a text. Okay? Send me a quick text at 916, what is that number? 916-741-0596. 916-741-0596. I'll send you the whole hiring process. But, I screen them on the phone, and if they make it past that, then I send them an assessment. So, and if you don't have an assessment, you need to create one or get a hold of me. Text me. I'm a resource for assessments. So I have an agreement with TTI International, Target Training International, and you can only be a part of their deal if you're a coach or consultant. But I could set you up with your own little private link, and you can run assessments all you want. But have a way for doing assessments so you can fit them to the right job. Then you bring them in for a face-to-face interview. And the face-to-face interview goes for about an hour minimum, and what you're looking for is, do I resonate with this person? Do I like this person? I give them only one instruction. Dress your best. That's it. Dress the way that you would normally dress coming to work for this type of position. Bring your resume and your references. That's it. That's all I tell them. If they're a salesperson, if I'm interviewing a salesperson, I say, dress as if you're going to go out and represent my company on a sales presentation, okay? And then you need to bring your W-2 from last year. Yeah, I tell a salesperson that because I've interviewed too many salespeople that claim they sold all this shit and they made all this money and they haven't made jack. And then I make them come and actually they have to come and treat me like a prospect. So whatever I tell them, hey, whatever your sales process is for what you sell right now, you're going to sell me on that. So whatever that process is, if I have to go through multiple appointments, then you need to. I'm going to be your prospect. Now here's a big red flag for those of you that are hiring salespeople. Stop hiring salespeople that are unemployed. It's as simple as that. If a good salesperson will not be unemployed, period. Other positions, sure. But if you come to me and you're an unemployed salesperson and you've been unemployed for more than a week, that's a problem. Okay? Because if you're good, if you're a salesperson, you're going to be working for somebody. It's as simple as that, man. But if these people come to me and they want to be salespeople for my company and they've been unemployed for 6 months, I'm like, what the hell have you been doing for 6 months? I need somebody who's hungry, man. Somebody who wants to make some money. Okay? And so that's just kind of a tip for hiring salespeople. So let's just say you walk them through the whole process. You bring them on. Now what do? You got your 30-day roadmap. 30-day roadmap for getting them onboarded properly. And one of the things that most small business owners struggle with is they do not know how to delegate properly. And there's a good book out there called How to Delegate. So let me pull this up real quick. It's a really good book. It's called How to Delegate. And let me go to the library here. Where is that book? Here we go. The Art of Delegation. It's by Charles Malone. Is that Malone? Yeah, Charles Malone. The Art of Delegation. Excellent book on how to delegate properly. But essentially, it's simply this. I sit with an employee. I say, here's what I want done. Here's how I want it done. Here's the deadline that it needs to be done by. And here do you have any questions about what needs to be done? And if they ask any questions, I answer their questions and I say, are we clear? And they go, yeah. And I go, great. Now I want you to, here's the magic move. I want you to repeat back to me, okay? What you think I want you to do. Don't ever assume that they know. Okay? Trust but verify. And I make them repeat it back, and I make sure they have clear understanding. And then now they can be held accountable. And I find that when I delegate like that, they actually do the work great. They do it better than me. You know? When I don't delegate properly, it's very frustrating. It's like a seagull. You know, I earned the nickname Seagull one time. I would fly into the office, I would dump a bunch of shit all over the place, and then I'd fly back out. And so you guys figure that out. How many of you do that right now? I know some of you do that right now. You fly into the office, you dump all your crap all over your employees, say, hey, just figure it out, and you fly out, and then you wonder why they fall flat on their face and why they're not motivated. See, you want a demotivated employee? Do that to them. Dump a bunch of crap all over them, and they're not going to be motivated. People that work for you, people that work for me, they want to do a great job. They want to succeed. They spend a third of their life with you if they're a full-time employee. They want to succeed. And it's up to us as owners to give them the playground that they need in order to be able to succeed. So making sure that we have the right systems in place, the proper delegation in place, accountabilities in place, okay? Making sure that we actually give each employee a review on a regular basis. Now, when you're a large company, you have managers that can do this, but I like making, small teams, and I will literally have a sit down with each employee every single month. And I have two forms. One of them is they have their own form. It's a self-evaluation form. And then I have my form where I evaluate them, and then we get together. Now, if you want these two forms, send me that text. Okay? What's that number again?
916-741-0596.
916-741-0596. I'll send you the two forms. Customize it for your business. But here's how it goes. I send them the form a week ahead of time. Okay? I have my assistant schedule a time with them. And they come to my office or I go to their office. We sit down and I say, it's no more than a half hour, sometimes an hour. And I basically just say, hey, you know what? Your role in this company is so important that I want to make sure that you are extremely happy here. Because the only way that I get to achieve the goals that I have as an owner, the only way that this company achieves the goals it has as a company is if you are absolutely 100% committed and focused and satisfied and happy. Okay? I want to make sure that we always have an environment here that you just can't wait to get to work. But I can't create that without your help. So let's talk about your evaluation. So here's what the company said we were going to do for you. Here's all the stuff that we say we're going to do for you. We're going to provide you this. We're going to provide you this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. How are we doing? And this is your once a month time frame that you get to say whatever you want. If I'm screwing up as a CEO, you need to tell me. You're not going to get fired, okay? If I'm not doing my part to support you, you need to tell me. If there's somebody else in the staff that is irritating the crap out of you, this is your time to bring it all. This is your time to bring all the stuff to the table, because if we don't know what the problem is, we can't fix it. And I sit there and I listen. I take notes. Boom, 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 boom. And I say, I get more clarity. What's this challenge do for you? What's the real challenge here for you? Okay. What solutions do you propose that we implement to solve this challenge? I want that employee to solve that challenge, not me. Okay? If you as an owner continue to take control of things, you're never going to have freedom. And so I say, is there anything else? No. Great. All right. Now I flip the table and I go, okay, these are all the things that you said you were going to do for the company. Let's evaluate how you did. We go through and we evaluate, okay, you said if it's a sales person, you said you were going to make so many calls and run so many appointments and close so many sales. Let's look at the numbers. Man, you said you were going to close 2 new clients and you only closed 1. What happened? And salespeople are notorious. They start going into a story, okay? And I got a tip from Jim Rohn one time when I heard him talk, is I make that box like really small. It's almost like this small on the paper, right? And I say, hold on just a second. Hold on. I flip the paper around and say, you see that box right there? the reason that box is so small is so a story won't fit. Okay? I just need a number. Okay? So you can make every story on the planet that you want, but the bottom line is you didn't hit the number. Now, I did my part. You didn't do your part. So how do you propose we fix that going forward? Notice I don't solve the problem for them. How do you propose we fix it this next 30 days so you can have success, and so I know how to best support you? That way 30 days from now when we sit down and do this again, you come back with success. It's important that you have success, man. And I talk to them that way. I'm like, and even if they're an administrative assistant, same thing. There might be some things that they're not doing right. It's like, hey, we lay out a plan. I help them create their plan for the next 30 days. Their plan, not my plan, their plan. And by helping them create their plan, they now have ownership of it. And my job is to hold them accountable. And I explain to them, accountability is not punishment. It's not criticism. All it is I'm going to hold you accountable to what you said you were going to do. So you can have integrity. So you can feel good about you. So you can be happy. Because it's only in you achieving the stuff that you claim you want are you going to be motivated. And that's what we're talking about here. How do you keep and retain motivated employees? It's assessing the right person, bringing the right person in, training them right, taking responsibility for their success, okay? And your job as a manager and owner is not to be a boss, okay? Any idiot can do that, okay? It's about being a leader and truly serving them and helping them achieve their goals. And so sitting down with them on a regular basis and listening to what they're saying to you, because trust me, you want them to be better at that part of the company than you will ever be. If you can do their job better than them, you haven't hired the right person, you haven't trained them right, okay? And all you have there is somebody that's going to cause you a lot of headache. So how you have motivated employees is you put the right person in the right role, leveraging the right strengths, the right talents with everything that they can do. If you do that, they're going to love what they do. And they're going to do it so much better than you. And so reviewing them on a regular basis, having team events and activities, things that you can do together as a team, setting a quarterly goal and objective, setting a monthly goal and objective, and celebrating that success and those wins as a team. It's huge. It's huge. Great people like to hang out with each other. But I'll tell you something else, man. Something that will drive your great people out of the door, something that will tear down your team, is to have great employees and then settle on an average employee, right? Have one member of the team just be average, right? Not pulling their weight. And what happens is it's like a little bit of yeast, right? A little bit of yeast in dough will permeate through the rest of the dough. And it's the same thing with an employee that's not been trained properly, or they're not happy, or they're whining, or they're complaining, and you're not taking responsibility as an owner or a manager and helping them turn them around or releasing them back to the marketplace. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay? But if they're not going to be able to be happy there, all it's going to do is drag the rest of the team down. So one of the most challenging times I ever had was when I had to fire everybody. I shit you not, man. There was like 8 people there, and I didn't know who was dedicated to who. I had to let go of everybody and rehire and rebuild, and I did not skimp. It took a lot of work, but at the end of the day, company was better, it was more solid. I was burnt out. My heart was no longer into it, but I was able to sell it because it was structured a whole lot better. So that's the key to motivating employees. So next week, we're going to wrap up this series on having too many overheads, too many products or services, and having products or services that don't perform. That being able to let go of the things that aren't working, so you can open up the door to embrace things that will work. And then, how do you stay current? How do you stay current on the trends in your industry and other industries? So that's what we're going to talk about next week. If you haven't registered for it, register for Revamp this Thursday night. I want to see you there. It's going to be an unbelievable event. Okay, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Arcade Underground. It's going to be, go to the Facebook group or the my Facebook feed there and look up that photo, and you can register there. If you can't make that, join me for breakfast at the Rockland Chamber on the 10th from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Whitney Oaks Golf Club. Okay? But look forward to seeing you there. Go out and have a wonderful week. Make it happen. Go out and get your dreams. We'll talk to you later. Have a great one.